Welcome back to the channel. Today is a request and it's something that a lot of us will have experienced or continue to experience. It's tinnitus or tinnitus depending on how you pronounce it. I certainly experienced it in a way that I never had in April this year, April and May, and it would not budge. And if anyone's had it or suffers from it continuously, it really is. It's like something that's hard to explain. When you've had it temporarily, it can be irritating, but when it feels as if it's here to stay, it can feel quite debilitating and you have to learn coping strategies. Now, in my quest for a coping strategy, I actually managed to find a solution. So that's what today's video is about. It's to chat a little bit about the ear. Obviously, massage can't cure it, but it can help, so we'll do a little bit of a massage demo. But through trying to find coping strategies, I hit on something that actually helped to take it away for me. So although it might not be something that goes away for good, you never know if you'll get tinnitus. It can come and go at any point. You also don't know if you can reverse it or if you're stuck with it. But I'll talk you through what I did and how I managed to get it to stop for me. And through stage by stage, you can tell me if you've had it, if you've done the same things, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked. And together, we might be able to create a little conversation where you can actually chip in with your experiences or your solutions, and you might help someone else. So let's get started on what it is and the different stages that you can go through to help yourself. If not reverse it, at least get some relief. So most of us at some point will have experienced a buzzing in your ear, maybe a high-pitched noise, it can be hissing. Have you ever come out of a loud event like a concert and your ears just feel as if they are full of cotton wool? Maybe you've created a situation for yourself through constantly listening to loud music, headphones, in-ears. It could be your work where you are, if there's a very loud noise just constantly, just what you do for a living. I'd be interested to know if you've experienced it, where and when. So for me, it just seemed to happen overnight in April and it just did not budge. It was a high-pitched tone. That's the only way I can describe it, almost like the ear was trying to tune itself. So through demonstrating on Alan's ear, for me it was just a tone within, and the first step was actually to see if I could get someone to take a look at it. That's easier said than done because here in the UK the NHS doesn't really want to deal with it anymore. So the next step for me was the opticians, because they have an audiologist. But when I booked the appointment, the audiologist hadn't appeared. So they said over the telephone within the opticians to try putting a little bit of oil in the ear in case there was a build-up of wax. So I did what they said. The oil didn't help. So then I was able to book a clinic. So you have to pay for it yourself, which is fine. So I organised to go to the clinic, and it was an ear specialist. And she took a look and she said, right, there's not a wax build-up, but you do have some oil in the ear. I'd obviously done that myself because I'd been asked to. So she basically used a vacuum. So stage one would be then, if you've gone through all that, have you actually had your ears syringed? So I didn't need them syringed, but what she did was she gave a bath in one ear and a vacuum in the other, because she said that's what would suit each individual ear, but there wasn't actually a blockage there. Now, when she did that, it was very comfortable. She actually showed me what was inside the ear. She said it can tickle when you get it done. So I would say for me, it did tickle, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was actually very nice, very relaxing. But she said when they do the bath, and you're sitting on your side, and they basically put the water in, but they do it through a machine. And I would say you could quite easily go to sleep, but she said that some people found it awful, they didn't like it. But for me personally, I thought it was very pleasant, very relaxing, and it didn't make me feel like my throat was tickly or I needed to cough, nothing like that. Over and done within a few minutes. She then showed me a little picture that they take inside your ear, and they were fine to begin with, and they were even better after. Problem was, the tinnitus only went away for a day or two and then it came back again. So that's when they said, look, it might be something you just have to live with. So I thought, right, okay, we'll do that. But this is where something else came in. So I was looking at what it could possibly be, and because of my age, I'm mid-40s, a lot of it came back that it could be perimenopause symptoms, and they said that if it's safe to do so, you can actually look at balancing your progesterone and your estrogen, and that's where I get this. Now, you can take a look at it, but don't use it without checking with a medical professional. Vitex or Vitex agnus castus. It's a natural supplement. It's a chaste tree berry, basically a tincture. You can obviously have it in different forms. So this is a tincture, the Vitex, Vitex, however you call it. This balances progesterone and estrogen in females, but it also helps within males, but it does different things. But they recommend, because it works with the hormones, that you don't just decide to take it off your own back, because with working with the hormones, it can affect hormonal conditions. So if you've got a hormone issue, if you have an illness or ailment that's relating to the hormones, or if your doctor has said we've got to watch your hormones, you do not just take this, because it is very effective. So I checked with the doctor that I'm seeing, and she said, right, go for it, you can try it. And guess what? Within a couple of days, the tinnitus had started to fade and it was gone. I actually did a blood test. Now, the jury's out again on blood tests for your hormones, because they say that they swing from hour to hour, never mind test to test. But when I tested my hormones in May versus when I tested them in August, the progesterone and estrogen were much more in balance. So that corresponds with when I started using the tincture. So I think my tinnitus might have been a progesterone estrogen imbalance. So it definitely did the trick for me. Will it be permanent? I don't know. But that's what definitely worked. So for me, it's worth looking at. For you, could it be worth it? Again, your gender might come into play. Your condition, your ailments might come into play. So don't just start taking it without checking with the doctor, because you could make something worse, or you could actually trigger something that you didn't know you had the ability to trigger. But I had to let you know, because it's not often that you can actually find a solution, and for me, I found a solution. But it might not work for everyone. So here are some things you might want to look at. And we've looked at this before, and a lot of people will be like, no, and some people will say yes. Ear candles. I'm not suggesting for one moment that they'll cure tinnitus, but there are a lot of people who say the ear candles have actually helped the relaxation element. Now, there's a lot to be said about what the belief is that they do. I don't believe that they suction the wax out your ears. And even though I say that, I still get some people who just want to rant and rave in the comments, because they still want to say how angry they are about that. And that's fine, but you're not listening to what I'm saying when I say I actually don't believe they pull the wax out. What I think they can be good for is the relaxation element, the warming element, the softening of the wax, possibly, but I would speak to a professional about that. But overall, for me, it's the procedure, the relaxation procedure, bearing in mind that you do some relaxation massage, then the candles are used, then you remove the candles, and then you finish with some ear massage. And I think that all in, this might help with the tinnitus. It might be all in your mind. It might be that you're willing it to work. But if it gives you a little bit of respite, then why not? But personally, I wouldn't be a fan of doing the candles yourself. And also, you know that there's contraindications. So go to a professional, maybe go to someone that's recommended. And not all ear specialists are anti-ear candles. Some of them actually feel that they've got their place. But almost everyone that's a specialist will say that the jury's out on the wax element. But we're talking about helping the tinnitus, and that's not always as simple as wax. Obviously, if you've been watching the channel for years, you'll know that I did a podcast with Wayne Altman, who does, it's melody clouds that he does, and that is the binaural beats and the relaxation. I don't know if it's just music, it might also be stories, but you can check Melody Clouds. There's probably also free content with binaural beats that can help to tune it out too. And then the final thing can be your head massage, your Indian head massage. And it doesn't just have to be massaging the ears. Now, I'll start doing some very simple movements right now. When I was teaching Indian head massage, you had to do case studies. And more often than not, when the students had multiple case studies, they would have at least one person that would say that the Indian head massage helped with a clenched jaw, they had TMJ, or it might be that they had tinnitus, and quite often they would say that the Indian head massage gave them temporary relief from the tinnitus. So nobody said permanent, but they said that sometimes the temporary relief was sustained. So it might be that they felt the tinnitus fade during the massage and then it came back shortly after it. But as the case studies went on, and sometimes it was 6 treatments, not necessarily 6 weeks in a row, the treatments could be spaced out, but sometimes they would say that the effects of the Indian head massage as the massages went on had a longer and longer and longer effect on the tinnitus, and that it was moving from hours to sometimes days, and then possibly the tinnitus was becoming more intermittent. Now, we don't know why that is. We don't know again if it's because the tinnitus was coming from a place of stress, maybe it was coming from a place of tightness in the jaw. We don't know. But if something like massage can give you temporary relief, then why not? So when you're doing a head massage for the benefits of tinnitus, it doesn't have to be the ears that you're working on. It can be the scalp. It can be just working to loosen off tightness and tension in that area. You know that we've got lots of videos on the channel. You can have a look at them and just be guided, or you can freestyle it and do your own thing. But when you get to the base of the neck, you can have tightness here. And again, all these muscles are running up and down. So if we're working on the bones here and then we're working into these muscles, that can also help with the ears too. Sometimes it can be more along the jaw. So work with those fingers, find the jawline and work with those fingers. You should, I'd say ideally, if you're helping with the ears, be guided by the person who's actually experiencing it. Sometimes they don't want to talk and they say, look, just massage me, I don't want to talk, I just want to feel a bit of relief here. Go for it. Work behind the ear. It does feel bony, but this is going to help, if not with the tinnitus, with relaxation. So you're just following behind the ear. Follow in front of the ear. We've got lots of nerve endings here. So you're just being guided by the pads of your fingers, little circles. See how my thumbs are just like an anchor, and I'm just working around the ear. You can do little gently stimulating movements, because if we're stimulating the circulation, sometimes that can really help too. And I've had some lovely chats on emails and in comments with people. One lovely chat a few months ago, you'll know who you are if you're listening. We were talking about this recommendation and the things that people do to cope with it. I am so impressed and inspired. Some people have it so badly that they just have to find coping mechanisms to just get through hour by hour, day by day, and they do it, and they don't complain, and they just adapt to it. And you really do, you have my respect, because if there's anything that is just very, very irritating when it first happens to you, alarming, distressing, then adapting to it and not allowing it to get the better of you is really inspiring. So you've got my respect, anyone that goes through it, and feel free to leave me comments if you've got tinnitus or you've had it, your strategies, because we can all learn from each other's strategies. And then we've got the classics. You can just work on the ear. So we can't go into the ear, but we can work on the ear. And you've got lots of pressure points here. And just work on it, warm it up. Anything that helps. When you're doing the massage, maybe the person would like music on. Again, if it's distracting, they might want in-ears. Again, there are a lot of people that say that makes the problem worse. But if you're distracting, maybe you could put on Wayne's app or free content on YouTube and find the music that actually helps. You know, they talk about the frequencies and the binaural beats and finding what it is, your sweet spot that works for you, that just drowns it out. Find it, use it. For me, it went away when I was sleeping, and then I would wake up in the morning and it wouldn't be there, and I'd be like, yes, it's gone. And then maybe within about half an hour, it would just, this tone, this high-pitched tone would just appear. And once it appeared, that was it, it was there. And I did think at the time, oh, is this here to stay? And again, I would have coped. You do learn to cope. But for me, I didn't expect it to, but the Agnes Castus worked. And I think that means that mine must have been hormonal. So there are so many different reasons. There could be a bit of damage in the ear, there could be an ear infection, there could be stress, it could be signalling issues, it could be hearing loss. Get it investigated. Don't just decide that you have made it up yourself. I think it's this. Self-diagnosis. Get it investigated. Rule things out and then see what you can do to help yourself. But we'll just give the neck a little stretch. Finish off at the ears. You know, I like to just cup the ears, get a little bit of heat in, finish off at the temples. So that's our request, our tinnitus chat. I hope you found it helpful. I'd love to know your experiences. If anyone you know or yourself has got any advice, share it please. Again, if there's anything that I can talk about, let me know. I'll try my best. Have a great day and I'll see you again soon.